This week on the Three Rings podcast.
It needs to be marketing what you're going to bring to the agent, not what the agent can bring to you.
If you give us an excuse to be able to get rid of your email quicker, then thanks.
The best way is to actually meet people.
Welcome to episode 30 of the Three Rings podcast. My name's Stuart Bishop and I'm here with my fellow director, Bailey J. Muir.
Before we get into this week's topic, subscribe to the channel, give us a like on the video, and turn on your notification bell so you know all about next week.
This week's topic is, how can a dancer gain representation by the top agencies? So, Bailey, how you doing first?
I'm good. How are you doing?
I'm all right. I feel and I look like, well, I don't know, viewers might not be able to see it, but I'm a bit groggy-eyed. I haven't been out on the piss. Just struggling to sleep at night where it's been so hot. But I'm not going to moan because I don't want to moan about the weather. We're blessed at the moment. This is hence why I'm looking all summery to counteract the bags under my eyes. But
That'll be right.
I'm looking forward to today's topic because I feel like it's one that, all our topics are important, I always think, but this particularly for dancers, it's one of these things that, you know, there seems to be two chances to gain representation as an agent. It's when they first, do their summer graduation show and then sending an email. And we're going to delve into today, what is the best way to get representation, how you should do it, things that you should put into that contact to an agent. Is just emailing an agent the best way? Is, relying on your college to get agents at your graduation? Are all these good ideas? How and what is the best way for a dancer to attract the top agencies? Bailey, what's your initial thoughts?
Yeah, I think there is actually a secretive third way, which is the best way to gain that representation. But I don't want to jump too far ahead. So I think let's go into the email route first of all. So I feel like that's the route that's the most common for most dancers.
Oh, I feel like, hang on, I feel like I want to guess what that third one is. Can I do a little guess?
Yeah, go on. Let's have a little guessing game.
Is it that the agents, but by making the agents know about you, or from when you come out, as in, so the agents are coming to get you?
Yes, 100%. The agents are coming to get you, or by the time you go to get the agent, they already know you exist. You're not just another generic dancer in an inbox.
I feel like I feel like I should have given that as a third option right from the beat. But okay, let's go on. You were going to say you say let's talk about the emails, or should you think we should go back and talk as in the order of, let's say they're at college.
Mm-hmm.
When you're at college and you're being told you got to get agents. What chance have they got nowadays of getting an agent from your graduation show or your summer show?
I would say the chances of getting the right agent from that show are very slim. I'm going to find this very hard not to tangent into a whole thing about the training scene. But I don't feel like anyone's ever well, in a dance sense at least, I don't think anyone's ever showcased in enough of a format that as a dance agent you can sit there and go, yes, I want to sign that person. I don't think showcases ever show dance enough to actually get the dancers of the cohort the agent they're looking for. How about you? What's your thoughts on the showcase scene?
Well, if you can get the good agents there, it's a great opportunity. And it was a great opportunity back in the day when you only had, say, 30 in your year, or like I've said before, my year we started with sort of 30, we ended with 8, because it was a much harder sort of period of training, and there was much less. There wasn't all courses weren't accredited, so there wasn't all the funding. So you know, if you can get the agents there and you're from a small college, brilliant. That's an amazing opportunity. However, I know myself. We get all the invites to every single college. How many do we go to? Maybe, I don't know.
I think we've done 2 this year.
2 this year. Yeah.
3 this year. Sorry,
3 this year, and it's 3 too much, really.
Yeah,
because I've been the one who's gone to those, and it's. I have to admit, I enjoyed the bass one. I went bass performing arts, which I went to the other day. But it's not that I don't enjoy going and seeing and meeting people and that. It's just I struggle to see who I'm meant to be looking at when there are hundreds. You know, it's just impossible because everyone's getting their 5 minutes or their couple of minutes, or some might get a solo. But it begs the question, okay, well, they're good at that, but can they do everything else? And it's just, I don't know. And I'm also looking around and thinking, well, I don't see, agents from AMCK or Mass Movement or, every time I've been, it's been, dare I say, I don't know, sort of random musical theatre people. It doesn't seem like the top agents are sitting there.
Yeah, I don't want to comment on like the musical theatre scene because I don't really know who's great and who's not good agent-wise in that scene. How different it is for a musical theatre agent sat there, because obviously a lot of the showcases are more musical theatre, but certainly on a dance level, addressing this topic at dancers getting signed, I don't think the showcases ever do them justice. When I was going into third year, we never actually got our showcase because I was a 2020 graduate. But my intention by that point, wanting to come out and be a dancer, was basically the showcase isn't a place for me to get an agent. It's a networking opportunity for me to have a conversation with the agents after, to get them knowing my name, that in 6 months, a year's time, when I've built up a few credits and I'm ready to email, they'll go, oh yeah, I remember you. You were really nice when I chatted to you. I think on a dance level, my advice would almost be that's all a showcase is for you. It's an opportunity to network.
So you think dancers should not get, or should I say students of dance who are at colleges should not be getting really that excited about it's really a sense of, here, look, you've completed your training, well done. If there are some agents, you're saying it's a bonus.
Yes. Yeah, very much so. I think there's often a problem on the training level of people have trained so much through the 3 years of I need to get an agent in that showcase, that especially on the dance level, they end up jumping at the wrong agents because the agent they actually wanted doesn't even come, but they think that's their one opportunity. So I think my overriding advice on this would be, it's your first opportunity, by no means your last. Don't rush into anything. You have time on your hands at that stage in your career. Keep yourself open for the right agents.
So if we're saying, okay, let's do a devil's advocate and say the top agents, are coming, and definitely, sometimes you get. There was a point where, I'm not sure if it still happens, but when Wilkes first opened, there was a big fanfare that, Robbie Williams was the patron, Anton Deck was a patron, and blah, 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 blah. So it was like, for all agents, we want to be sort of rubbing shoulders there. But let's say, for instance, you're a dancer, you're learning at college, and your college has said, right, these people are going to be here. If that was the case, what is it? And I can help answer this as well, because obviously I go to these colleges shows sometimes. But what do you think is the main thing you should be trying to get across in that show? Is it making sure you've got a solo? Is it being at the front? Is it making sure that you've contacted those agents beforehand? Because it's very rare now that we get people contact us to say, oh, we're going to be, we've got the graduation show coming up, can you come? From an individual dancer, it will come from the actual, the head of year or the principal or whoever. So yeah, what can they do to get noticed in those shows?
I think it comes down to, throughout your 3 years, knowing the network of each of your teachers and making sure that before the showcase, the ones that know a certain agent are putting the word in with that agent of, make sure to watch this kid. For example, when I was training, I was taught by Mark Webb, and I know he still teaches at a lot of the colleges. Obviously, Mark Webb and Christian Storm of Mass Movement are absolute best mates. If Christian Storm happen to be coming to your showcase, your best way of Christian noticing you is that Mark Webb's already had a little word down his ear the day before that showcase and gone, watch out for XYZ. I think the preparation comes through your whole 3 years. I don't think it's so much what you do in that showcase, being at the front, having the solo. It's just doing the best with what you've got. But someone has to have put in a recommendation for you to make sure you're spotted because of the numbers now, would be my take on it. How about you? Where would you go with that one?
Oh God, it's like I don't really want to say, because I don't want to be influxed with or inundated with invitations from dancers. But I would say it's about, a little bit almost the same as you, but right from the very start that you're at college, you need to guarantee yourself by that 3rd year that you've got some kind of relationship with a choreographer, an agent, or someone who's higher up, so you can kind of update them. Hey, look at me, I'm doing this, I'm in this now, so you kind of almost have got a friendship with an agent, because they are human beings as well. Whether, it's a much trickier time to do that now, because a lot of companies don't have offices, and from the pandemic they've got rid of offices. There isn't the, for example, we used to have a lot of classes, so there was loads of opportunity for people to come every week. And ironically, I'm going to scout at a class tonight, funnily enough. But yeah, it's you want to be the person who has made a relationship, who has got that recommendation, as you say. Because if I'm looking at a program sometimes that I've been given, and I'm just like, oh, bloody hell, there's so many. There's just so many. Surely this is everyone from the whole school, is it? And I'm like, no, this is the whole year. So I would say have a good photo, because often I might get there 5-10 minutes beforehand, before the lights go down, and that's when I'm looking at that program, and I'm looking, which girls are attractive to me in a sense of not fancying, but in a, wow, who stands out? Who am I attracted to? Who would I know a client would go, wow, she's beautiful, she looks like a star. So go on. You're gonna.
It's also making sure that you're recognizable from your photo. I won't say which college, because I don't want to throw people under the bus and stuff, but there was a showcase I went to a couple of months ago now. There was a girl in the showcase who I picked out, who I would have actually loved to have gone and signed. Was never able to work out who she was. Could not tell by the photos at all. Look at the photos on the paper, no one on that paper looked like her. She's obviously there somewhere. Your photos have to match.
So okay, that's the college. I mean, generally we're saying, if agents come, great, you're lucky that they can be bothered, but it's not the greatest way of getting an agent, and especially nowadays with the amount of performers who are in college years, it's near impossible that you're going to get signed by one of the top agents. It's near impossible that they're even going to bother turning up.
Yeah, that's it. It's almost like no matter how much pressure the college teacher you should be putting on that showcase, just chill. Is nowhere near as important as you're made to think it is. you will have 100 more opportunities and 100 more better opportunities. I almost think it's the worst opportunity you get, so don't stress.
So that brings us to the second way that we said, which was the I suppose the most common way is to contact and email an agent. Now, first of all, when do you think you should do this? Because you just said something really important there. You said when I'm ready to get to send my stuff. So when are you ready to send your stuff and email an agent? Is it straight away? Is it straight away as soon as you leave? Because that seems to be the thing that everyone does.
Yeah, I don't think it is. This on the dance level, this is not musical theatre. I don't want to get it confused. Musical theatre, we don't know that scene enough to comment. But on a dance level, there is hundreds of jobs you can do without an agent. I think to get with the big dance agents, your best route is to build up a few credits first. Those big dance agents have so many people on their books that they don't need people. They have no reason to take a risk on you who's never done a professional job when there's 100 people on their books that have done like the biggest tours, the biggest TV shows. Why would they take you? I think you've got to have built your CV up a little bit that you can go, look, I've done all these jobs, so you can see evidently you can trust me. Otherwise, I wouldn't have worked as much as I have. I'd say 6 months to a year of your career, build up that CV a little, and then you're at a point that you're actually reputable on paper, that then the agency's looking at you going, oh, okay, yeah, I'm not worried about putting you on the job. Maybe if your showreel's good, I'll bring you on. Let's have a look at this person. I think straight out of college, you're too much of a risk given the numbers game to be given those massive opportunities straight away.
So we'll go through sort of what perhaps should be in that contact when you do make that contact in a second. But are you saying perhaps then it could be damaging to send an email straight out of college? Because I mean, we get so many. I mean, this is the time when they'll start coming as they start to graduate, and it's very rare we take someone on from just an email. From they've actually got more chance of us turning up at the college than us just taking them on straight away. So is it damaging? Like, are they even going to be remembered?
Yeah, that's what I'd say. I don't think it's damaging because the numbers are so huge that if you're not right, we're not going to remember in 6 months when you are right that you weren't right. And to be honest, even if we do, it's lovely to see progression. I won't name names, but there was a girl we took on a few months ago who we saw at an audition 2 years ago, and we saw her there and went, she will be ready one day, all the potential is there, but she's not ready yet in a way that I think I could get a client interested in her. Then she emailed in a few months ago, and it was one of the most exciting signings for me to actually send out, be like, yes, here's an offer, we would love to have you on the books, because you've seen her earn it, you've seen her work on herself. I think if you're remembered, it can actually be a really nice thing for the agent. It's quite rewarding to see dancers improving themselves. 9 times out of 10, you're not going to be remembered. I don't think there's any damage to be done unless you do a horrific email, which I think is where there's a lot of factors in that email for us to dive into. My instinct will be the very first line of your email. What are you saying about that, Stuart? Because I know you're exactly the same as me.
Oh God, it's such a basic one. It's such a basic one. If I mean, it's basically personalizing the bloody email. Like, if you don't personalize that email, like, it's giving us an excuse. We're busy. We're busy. Okay. Going through, and we always do. I'm not sure if other agents do, but we do take time to go through every email. It's the first thing. Basically, it's the first when we do our daily meetings. It's the first thing that we do. Quickly, let's get rid of. It sounds horrible, but we're wanting to get them out of the way of these who has applied. But we do give every single person the opportunity. We open the email, we look at it, we check out the links very quickly, but sometimes it can be within 20, 30 seconds and we know, okay, this person definitely not. But we still, unless it is a horrendous email, we will still always just click on the link just in case, just to double check, So, however, it's an annoyance that we have to do it because we are now seeing more and more that actually it's actually a bit of a waste of time going through these things, going through these sort of emails from dancers when they are clearly not ready. So if you give us an excuse to be able to get rid of your email quicker, then thank you for that. And the biggest one will be, when it doesn't say Dear Bailey or Dear Stuart and Bailey, straight away I know, well, this has gone out to multiple agents. They've got no idea who we are. And then it will be the normal we'll go into what the norm is after that. But personalization, it's not hard, is it, Bailey?
No, not at all. I mean, especially with us, it's unbelievable the amount we get without to say on our website where it tells you the email address to send your email to. It literally said, please address to Stuart and Bailey. We couldn't make it easier, yet we still don't get it. So I dread to think what some of the other agents get that don't have that on their website so clear for dancers. You've got to do your research. You've got to know who you're emailing, because obviously within that name section, that's super important, but then also transitioning to the contents of your email. The amount of times that we get the exact sentence, I've been following your agency on social media for a few years now, and that's your little selling pitch of why you want to be repped by us. It just screams of I've done no research. I don't even know what I'm applying for, which as an agent is actually quite a scary thing. That for us is the sign of a dancer who's going to go to an audition without having researched the choreographer or the style of the piece they're auditioning for. Let's say you're up for like a feature film that's set in the 1800s. For us, that's a sign of a dancer that's not even read their email and is going to turn up dressed for like a 2024 commercial audition with no idea what they're in the room for. It's incredibly, not scary in a like stupid sense, but alarming for an agent to see you haven't researched. You've got to do that. And even the same thing, the amount of times we get an email that are like, I love that you've done this, this, and this job because that's the kind of work I like to do. And we'll look at that and be like, our agency hasn't even done that job. What are you talking about?
Yeah.
You've got to know what you are talking about. Find something with the agency you can genuinely tap into that they'll go, oh, okay, yeah, you have looked at us. Okay, cool, I trust you. The email really is there to build trust, I would say. What's your thoughts on that?
Well, it's like cold calling. It's like someone knocking at your door. Years ago, people didn't mind that, but now you get a knock at the door. You're like, the fuck, who's that? Unless it's Amazon, if when someone's coming, it's like a solicited mail.
Yes.
Years ago, record companies wouldn't open anything unless it was solicited mail. Basically, they already had given the go ahead to it, and it was fine for you to send. So it's like we're getting these cold calls from dancers of emails, which is just so kind of generic. And I get it because I've put out over a period of time, hey, look, here's a good template to send. But it's not copy the template and just send. It's use the basis of that, and and then it might be completely different by the time you send it. However, if you are sending an email and you've not made some kind of whether that's meeting us at a showcase, coming to a class that we've scouted at, having, I don't know, a phone call, or just sort of sending us a DM, hey, look, I've just done this video project, I'd love for you to see it, in view to, at some point down the line, gaining representation. If we don't know you when you're sending that email, you are already, it's like you're coming in with one of your arms chopped off. If we go, oh, I've seen this girl, oh, okay, boom, you're almost there. You're almost there because familiarity breeds success and trust.
I
And
think
go on.
where you say familiarity as well, I think sometimes there is an element of familiarity by association. Even if you don't have a direct connection with us, if you
Yes.
can email us and go, I've worked with this choreographer you represent, or I'm friends with so and so on your books and I've heard great things,
Mm.
it suddenly makes us feel like we know you a little bit more because you know someone that we know and trust. Obviously, the dance industry is a pretty small place, and all of the dance agencies have a lot of dancers. In theory, there shouldn't really be anyone emailing us or emailing AMTK, Mass, etc., that don't have a connection with someone on those agencies' books already. You've got to use your network. If you can get that person to put a recommendation into their agent, even better. But if not, just dropping a name in an email, I think can go an awfully long way.
Mm. It's also, you got to know the times have changed. We're not going to look at, sometimes all we get is a spotlight link, and you're just like, what do you want me to do with this spotlight link? At the moment, on the computer, you can't click through to there's, I don't know if it's working your end, but it's not been working for a while. So
Yeah, mine works about 20% of the time.
yeah, so I don't know what Spotlight are doing there, but so we it's got to be easy links. Easy links. Sometimes we get sent these Google Docs where you've got to download stuff and that, and so I don't want to download anything. I want to go through your email as quick as possible to make a decision, yes or no. Are we going to take this person on, or how are we going to reply back to them? Is it something to say, look, you need to do this more, or is it a yes, or is it just a, oh my bloody god, thanks but no thanks. Yes, it's, if you haven't got a show reel, if you haven't got, you got to, don't send an Instagram link if you're not active on Instagram. If there isn't something there in the first couple of lines for us to look, I don't want to be scrolling down to see you from 2010 eating cornflakes. I want to see dance. I want to see you dance. And it's also, well, look, what's the point sending an Instagram link and a show reel if they're kind of the same? The reason we want to see Instagram and social media is to see, have you got a following? Are you bringing more value for us to give to a client? Mm-hmm. So the client goes, wow, I'll have him because he's got 100,000 people who could, he can retweet to the job that we do. So
I think just to quickly dive in on the show reel as well, I think that's another reason why when you're coming fresh out of college, you shouldn't straight away be emailing agents because the show reels are never ready. There is a few of the colleges now who do give you like proper solo footage, but the majority of fresh graduate show reels we see where all that's in them is college pieces. We can't even make an assessment of your dance ability because we can't even make out which one of them you are.
Yeah.
So even the show reel, it's like once you've graduated, you need 6 months to build up your show reel of, I captured this video in class when I got picked out as like one of the 3 to get videoed at the end. I got in the studio and filmed this that I learned in an audition, etc. And suddenly you then have a show reel that can tell an agent via email what you can do. That's another huge factor of waiting once you've graduated. Building your portfolio material in a way that works in an email. Often what a college gives you doesn't work in an email.
It's that desperation, isn't it, to if they didn't get an agent from their showcase, and then I've got to get an agent straight away. Yeah. Yes, it's quite shocking the amount of. I could probably write a book, or both of us could write encyclopedias on sort of the mistakes that dancers are making in emails, and they're just not thinking. Any type of email which is slightly different to the norm template that we're getting sparks an interest. So before we go on to the final one, what is it that would spark our interest in an email? What is going to get our attention, as opposed to just the normal, hi, I'm a hardworking dancer, I've seen you, bloody hell, it's always the same. Go on.
But for me, it's the element of personalization. Whether that is being able to pick out a specific thing we do as an agency that you go, I love this, or being able to say you've worked with someone we work with, you're friends with one of our people. You don't need all of these elements, but for me, there needs to be something personal there that I actually feel like I've received that email from a real person. The amount of emails we get, whilst obviously we know everyone's real, they all blur into one another. There is the occasional few that jump out and be like, oh, there is actually a person behind that. It's got to feel like you've put your email together, not it's a template that college have given you. Has to be individually custom made for each agent you're going to send it to. And it needs to be marketing what you're going to bring to the agent, not what the agent can bring to you.
Yes.
Like, we know we've got 20 years experience in the industry and a load of clients that we can put you on jobs with. You don't need to tell us that. You need to tell us why we should put you on a job. And that is, I think, the flipping mentality that is often missing. How about you? What is like the key factor for you looking at an email?
I would say if someone said, hey, look, I have, I love you guys, love your work, watch your podcast, straight away. You're on. But, when people do that, and people have started to say, oh, I really interest on the agency. I like the way you do things a little bit different or whatever. I've seen you on the podcast. Oh, right. Okay. So they do know who we are, even if they've never watched a bloody podcast or they've never done that. It's understanding that people want to be made feel good. However, if someone comes in straight away and says, hey, love to be representing you guys. I've created this and I've just done that. And I'm working on this that I'd love to launch. I'd love to be represented by you guys. That instantly makes us think, representation level, definitely. And perhaps there's something else we can talk to you about, management level. How can we enhance that project? So it's straight away saying, I'm not just in it for again, we use this term lately, the worker dancer. I won't say worker bee, but the worker dancer. I just said it, but worker dancer. We're looking for people because they're the type of people who could get a big commercial because they've got something different. They're the type of people who the reason why clients want to use them is because they've got these other projects going on and they're building up their followers and they're, comes back to, if you haven't watched it, go watch the one which is out today. Actually, I'm confused when it is. Yeah.
Yeah.
The one
so
when
you're watching this, the last episode.
Yes. Which was, what was that? Not good enough to graduate. It was
basically how to raise your money as a dancer.
Yes.
How to build your value.
Yes. So, okay, right. College shows, not really that good chance. It's you're very lucky if you do get signed by a top agent there. Emails got to be different. You've got to bloody personalize. You've got to personalize. That is like the crucial one. And then the third thing. What was the third thing that we said at the start?
Basically making yourself known to the agent than just relying on them going, oh yeah, you are good actually, out of thin air. And I think in dance, that is absolutely the best way. And in a weird way, probably the most common way to get signed. Even though the most common way to try to get signed is the email. I would say when I look through our books, I would estimate 80 to 90% of the people we have on the books we found in real life, not through an email. There isn't many of them that have got on from an email, and the ones that have, I could tell you exactly what was outstanding about their email without even needing to go back and look at it. The best way is to actually meet people. That's not necessarily just the agents either. That can be the choreographers and getting a recommendation that way. For example, like you say with classes, Stuart, back in the day when you had loads, if someone is going to your class, let's say Christina's class, when you were repping Christina meets someone she loves. When Christina booked a job through Rudai, she would have gone, I've got this dancer in class that I'd love to put on this job. And then yourself and Serena would have been going, okay, cool, yeah, let's sign them, let's put them on the job.
Yeah, that did happen. Yes.
Yeah, exactly. That's such a key way through. Ourselves now with 3 rings. Ian has a class, that's definitely a way. Gaz is always doing workshops. Get into one of his workshops, be known, and get on that way. All the agencies have choreographers who are teaching either weekly classes or pop-ups, who will put the recommendation into the agent if you make a good impression on them. I think that is the key route in, because it all comes back down to trust. For the agent to put you on a high-stakes job, they need to trust you. It's nowhere near as easy to trust someone who you only know via an email. You've met them in real life, you can get a feel for the person. So I really believe that real life connection is the key to not only getting on an agency, but getting success with an agency.
And I would say, to add to that, we've got some people on our books who we went and chased, or we saw, we emailed, we approached, because we wanted to represent them. So in that first year, it's about creating things that will gain the attention. Wow, look at this video that's been posted. Oh wow, cool. Oh, we don't actually represent that person. Right, let's get them on. There could be a conversation there about choreography, about whatever. The more people know who you are beforehand, the absolute better. And as you say, it might not just be a project that you've done. It might be something that you've worked on with another choreographer, with another dancer who's represented by you. It's that trusting of putting people on jobs who is the most important thing ever. It really is. And when I worked as a choreographer, I wanted really, if I could, use the same people all the time, because I knew they wouldn't, yes, okay, occasionally they could, because we've got that familiarity, there is a level of, what is it, camaraderie, where sometimes it could feel like they can get away with being a bit naughtier because they know you. However, when it comes down to it, when they know that the client's coming, and things like professionalism, getting there on time, they know not to mess you around because you're kind of friends as well. So
I think an extra factor that I've never heard anyone talk about as well is making sure that if you ever happen to bump into an agent, you actually recognise them. It would be amazing to know the figures on how often, let's say you've been on the tube and there's been a dancer on that tube who would love to be on our agency that doesn't even recognise you, has no idea they've just had the absolute prime opportunity to sit on the tube for 5 minutes and sell themselves to that agent and make a connection. You've not recognised. Even like passing in the corridors at Pineapple. It'd be amazing to know the stats on how many people walk past massive agents every day and don't even click. Same with the choreographers. People pass choreographers and never know.
I have been in changing rooms in the past and listened to conversations of people talking to each other about Rudai. And they're saying, yeah, I really want to get on. I'm probably going to go to, to Stuart Bishop's class. I'm going to do that. I'm thinking, oh my God. I've also sat on the toilet before and heard people talking as well. including once where someone was slagging us off once, and I then came out of the toilet, and they had no idea who I was. Like, so it's just like, right, got you marked, you know. And when that person did send their stuff, it's like, well, you know, you've slagged us off. So it's a tricky one, you know, because I don't think there's as much. Is there as much access as there was before the pandemic? You know,
Definitely not as much. But there is still access.
Yeah.
I think this is where you've got to take advantage of the opportunities that are there.
Yeah. And the internet. The internet is your access now. You know, we are watching YouTube. We are flicking on Instagram to people that we're following, and you know, and often a video will come up because someone I follow has done a comment on it. So then I watch it and I'm like, wow, Thingy likes that, and wow, they're actually really good. We should get onto these people.
So I think your social media can be a huge, huge factor. There is a few dancers who have emailed us for rep that because they've been good on their social media, I already know who they are. And when their email arrives, before I even open the email, just because I know the name, I'm going, yeah, this will be a sign and this is worth looking at.
Yeah.
And you set yourself up on a good foot then. I'm already looking at your email going, I really hope this is good. Not looking at your email going, oh, another one called, yeah, not great, get rid.
So let's finish on a positive spin to this, because often people feel gaining representation is you know, they're desperate to do it, and they're very, it can be one of these things that get people down, and if they don't get it, they can, you know, there's a million excuses why they give up, and this is one of those excuses. Oh, I haven't got any agents, I can't get any work. So let's leave it on a positive. There's 3 good ways. You know, if you don't, college, we're saying if you can get the opportunity and you can make inroads before your show, then that could be great for you. If you're, you know, if you know an agent's coming because you've emailed, you've talked, or even you know already because perhaps you've gone to classes with choreographers or whatever, and you've gone to their workshops, you know, you've got a relationship with that agency in some way, great. Then you've got your emails where you're trying to, you know, again, hopefully every agency will give time to those emails. If they respect dancers, they should give time to each email. So you've got a major opportunity where for 20, 30 seconds, sometimes, you know, we can spend a whole minute going through their show or going through their thing. People say, well, show reels are like 3 minutes. We're not sitting watching the whole show reel, obviously. But you are getting our absolute attention for that moment. So don't waste that email. And then thirdly, you know, if that's not working, you've got that opportunity to showcase, to create, to get the agent to hear about you. So, you know, there shouldn't be any reason, unless you're absolutely the worst performer and just you shouldn't ever have gone into performing, why you can't get an agent.
Oh, totally. That's it. For me, the positive is there's unlimited opportunities. The second and third option of getting an agent, you can do 100 times over until it works.
Yeah.
I know plenty of dancers who are very successful in the dance industry now who didn't have an agent for the first 2-3 years of their career, were working a bit, and suddenly one portfolio shoot or one showreel update, one extra credit, within then a month, they had 8 agents.
Yeah.
One tiny little change can completely flip it. So you just got to keep trying, keep knocking the door down. Eventually, you will be known. Your name will start to get around, and the agent will receive it and go, yeah, I know that name. Let's sign them. They might not realize that you've sent an email 10 times before, but that one time it lands, they know you now, and it will go in. So I think that's the key positive. There's no point giving up because you have unlimited opportunity. Just keep taking your opportunities.
Yes. And just, if we're going to leave it with one thing, I would say, just know the bloody name of the agent first.
Yes.
Like, it's just, because it's not that they don't know the names. You know, I think majority of the time they know the names. why you would ever, it's like when you have to contact the council or something like that. If you're just doing a for whom it may concern, the chances you're going to get any help there is unbelievable. But if you can get a name of someone, boom, they're so helpful, because they feel the pressure. Right, I've got to, and us being addressed at least as Stuart and Bailey, or Bailey and Stuart, is just is it Stuart and Bailey or Bailey and Stuart? Like, which one's Ant and which one's Dec?
I can't remember what it says on the website, to be honest. It don't particularly matter as long as the names are there.
Well, we had a photo shoot, innit? And I was on the right.
Well, it depends which picture.
Oh, yeah.
There's one both ways.
Oh, yeah. All right. Right. Well, good one. Before we end, I just wanted to say, if you haven't seen our latest guest episodes, then click the links below to see episodes from Dax, owner of Base Performing Arts and obviously Base Dance Studios, Christina Andrea, Ian Bannon. We've got loads of great guest ones, and we've got some really good ones booked for coming up over the next few weeks, which we can't wait to record and do. And just generally make sure, we want to hear from you. Do you agree with what we're saying? Are you an agent? And, is there anything that we've said there that you disagree with, or you think you could add to the conversation? So, yeah, what are you saying, Bailey?
Yeah, so before we finish off, subscribe to the channel, give us a like on the video, turn the notification bell up top so you know all about when we come back next week, hopefully with a new exciting guest episode. Drop us your comments down below, and we will see you all next time around. Thank you for watching.